appear. So this young shepherd, she was mute, and she went with the family's shepherds, and the Virgin appeared to her and asked her to sacrifice one of her sheep. So she was so shocked that she actually responded to the Virgin Mary, and she was not mute anymore. So that was the first miracle, 1810. And then for about 100 years, people have been coming back to see if they could actually have an apparition, but nothing happened until 1917, the 13th of May 1917. At that point, again, there were shepherds, 3 of them, Lucia dos Santos, Jacinta and Francisco Marto, they were her cousins, were out with the sheep, and all of a sudden appeared what they said to be a lady dressed in white and shining of a very bright light. But they didn't know who it was, and she said that she had come to choose them to actually take the sins of the people. She explained to them that the Lord was very upset with humanity and that they needed to sacrifice themselves for it. So they would have to recite the Rosary, and that's why she is called the Our Lady of the Rosary, or the Lady of Fatima, and they had to do that every single day until she would come back 1 month later. So that was a meeting every 13th month. She also told the children, and that was to me the most unsettling part, she told them that she would take Jacinta and Francisco to the heavens, and eventually Lucia would be taken to the heavens as well, but much later, because she had a long task to do on Earth. So well, she came back, and first the kids wanted to keep it as a secret, but of course, well, they were 8-9 years old, so they told their mother, and the mother told the neighbors, making a joke out of it. But of course, some people took that seriously, and eventually it went to the authorities, and at some point by July the kids had been put in custody so that they couldn't meet the meeting with Our Lady. But she appeared a few days later at a different place, and at that point there was about 50 people who actually witnessed it. And she had told them also that she would reveal who she was and exactly what she wanted on after the 6th visit on the 13th of October, and she would perform a miracle to prove who she was. So the things went on, and eventually on the 13th of October 1917 there was about 100,000 people there, and nobody saw the Virgin herself, but she performed what is called the miracle of the sun. And what I explained this morning, the sun started appearing in a quite unusual way, and people reported that they had seen it moving in the sky and doing some strange things, which the scientists put as mass hallucination. But as for the church is said that it was worse to believe, and actually part of the prophecy came true. And what she said to the children, and that's the reason why they had been put in custody, because they thought it was politically motivated. 1917, we are in the Second World War, and she actually said that if they sacrificed, she would put an end to the world, to the war. And at the same time, that was the time of the rise of communism. 1917 was the October Revolution in Russia, and she also said that if they would sacrifice, the Russian people would keep going to the church. And both happened. In 1918 the war ended, and also, well, even though religion was banned in the Soviet Union until 1989, people were still going to the church. And we actually have proof that even Stalin was going to the church, because there was a monastery that remained open all through communism, and pictures of Stalin praying in secret in that monastery. So religion went on. As for the prophecy about taking the children to heaven, that happened. Francisco died in 1919 when he was 10 years old, and Jacinta died in 1920. They were both taken by a Spanish flu, which was also what put an end to the First World War, because that was the worst pandemic that happened on Earth in recorded times in 1919, 1920. As for Lucia, well, the prediction was that she was going to stay on Earth for a long time. She eventually became a nun, and she died in 2005 at the age of 97. So the part of the prophecy was actually put up. Now, in 1917, they put a little chapel at the place of the apparition. Later, a statue of the Virgin Mary was put. Then in 1920, they built the first basilica. 2017, for the celebration of the 100 years of the apparition, they had built a second basilica, and now the whole thing is also, as you will see, a pilgrimage place. So they have pilgrims' houses, they have lots of hotels around, and the town of Fatima actually developed. Now there's about 13,000 people living there, and mostly working around the pilgrims, the tourism, and the sanctuary. Now the number of pilgrims that flock to the place every year is between 6 and 8 million people, and this is just the number of recorded pilgrims, not counting the hundreds of thousands of tourists visiting the place, not as pilgrims. So you can imagine that today is going to be rather crowded. Yeah.
Same here. Same here. Where is Lord? Lord?
Lourdes is in southern France. It's in the Pyrenees. It is not very far from Spain actually, but on the other side of the mountains. Lourdes is a little different. There they had apparitions, but also miracles. So people go to Lourdes if they are sick, or if they have diseases, and they go in the water, and then they hope that coming out of the water they will get cured. Very often people go there with their wheelchairs, hoping that they will be walking out of the water. The same miracle always happens. The wheels of the wheelchair are clean when they come out of the water, but not very often people come out walking. So that is not better. One can always open. Lourdes is actually one of the most, I think it is the most visited place of pilgrimage in Europe. Our Lady of Lourdes is venerated. I can tell you a little story about that has nothing to do, but that happened some years ago, and there was a group of nuns that went to Lourdes in southern France. They came from Sweden, and after coming back from Lourdes, they came back to Sweden with bottles. And then they get to the customs, and the custom officer asks them, "Ladies, what is in the bottle?" And they said, "Oh, this is holy water from Lourdes." But he's not quite sure, because alcohol is very expensive in Sweden, so it's like a national sport to try to bring some alcohol back into Sweden. So he opens the bottles and says, "Ladies, this smells like vodka." So the nuns raise their arms to the sky and they shout, "Another miracle!" But the miracle did not happen. Yeah, the alcohol was confiscated and they had to pay a heavy fine, even that they were nuns. So that is for Lourdes, one of the most important ones. But there are many places in Europe where there has been Marian apparitions and where they have a sanctuary. So we can actually play the rosary, but we can also pray for something. So I have prepared 2 prayers for this morning. And the first one, I'm going to ask her to cure all of you that are still a little bit sick, yeah, so that by the time we get to Madrid, you will be all 100%. And the second one, because well, I like her to perform miracles as well, just to make sure that she proves who she is. I will